And we're back. Welcome to episode 12 of the Jungle Podcast. I'm your host, John. You know the other host, Jeff. Jeff, welcome back. We had a little hiatus there.
We did, man. Had the long holiday weekend, but it's good to be back. A lot of stuff has been happening, so definitely glad we're able to get this one out here this week here. We'll try to get a couple out this week, right?
Yeah, so we usually do Monday and Thursday. Jeff texted me yesterday on Tuesday, and I didn't realize it was Tuesday because you know how you just get in the swing of things. And so what we're going to do this week, we're doing today, obviously Wednesday, the 27th, and we're going to drop one, I think, on Friday as well. So keep an eye out. We're still going to do 2 a week as promised. Need to shift the schedule a little bit.
And how can they find us, John?
Good question, Jess. So you can find us on any listening platform, any podcast platform as The Jungle Podcast. You can find us on YouTube as The Jungle Podcast. And if you want to interact with us on Twitter, you can find us at The Jungle Pod. We have a couple polls just from the teams that we always draft or top 10s or whatever it might be that week or that episode. We always post them. So good. Get on Twitter and give us some feedback and vote.
Yeah, absolutely. That sounds good, man. What news and notes do you have jumping into it?
So I guess the first thing, in kind of keeping in the cadence that we've had with a lot of these other episodes, just giving you like sports league updates, because again, like the well's kind of dry as far as news in a lot of these leagues because nothing's happening outside of like the Korean baseball org, which we already did our little 10 minutes of fame on that one. But for the NBA, it looks like they're gonna they've agreed, at least in principle, to my understanding, that they're gonna lease out the Disney Wide World of Sports complex in Orlando. Looks like they're gonna be reporting in sometime mid-July or late July.
Yeah.
So it looks like we're going to get some kind of tailored NBA season, which is a good sign.
What have they come to an agreement on, like how many teams they're going to let play? Because I've seen everything from 16 to 30 and leaving out like the Wolves and the Warriors, or just doing like a shortened playoff type deal. I haven't really seen. I also saw, I think, seeds 7 through 12 play each other in like a little series to get the final seed.
Yeah, I only read like one article on it, and it's all. I think everything's fluid. You know, it's day by day, and you know, there's a lot of negotiations happening. But yeah, I mean, your understanding is about as far as mine. It's
which seems like it's kind of besides everyone who's really on the inside, it seems like that's everyone's understanding.
Yeah, you know? The thing about the NBA is they seem willing to play.
Yes,
which
they want to get back.
Baseball, the other league, like one that should be, you know, there's other leagues doing the same thing. That should be the one, but money is such an issue with baseball. They're trying to like, these guys make so much money and they're trying to, you know, split the money. But you know, some of these guys have $35 million contracts. I saw under the most recent like revenue split, they'd only be paying them like 7 of their 35 million. There's a lot of, I have a feeling like baseball locked out at 94. There's a real contentious relationship between the labor and the owners. I don't know. I'm kind of worried about baseball. But we'll see. I'm crossing my fingers on that one.
It's also a little different, too, because the NBA had already started a season.
Right.
You know, and baseball hasn't started yet. And so those guys want to finish. They want to be able to play for a title. Especially, I mean, the teams in the West out there, I've seen, like, the Clippers, Lakers. I mean, those are probably the 2 biggest favorites, you know, to win it all. LeBron wants another one. So I think they're definitely going to be coming back. We'll see with baseball. And everything I've seen looks like, for the most part, football is still on schedule. Yes,
both types. Yeah. So pro and college. Yeah. College, I think last time we spoke was the Ohio State said June 8th. A lot of the NCAA schools now are saying June 8th is that target date to get back.
Nice.
I did see Michigan, just like if we're keeping to collegiate athletics, like Michigan says they won't have any fans at games. Ohio State's saying like, hey, we'll have 20,000 in.
Right.
A lot of ambiguity around that. And for the NFL, it's looking positive. And obviously it helps your fall sport.
Right. Even some reports of actually like having fans. There's more talk. Like Miami keeps talking about how they've set aside a plan where they could do, you know, like what was it, 30,000 fans or something like that. So, hey, any fans are going to be better than putting up those cardboard cutouts of the of the fake fans. You know, but I get it. I get the soccer leagues that are doing it. You know, and I think the KBO's done it a little bit. So, I just can't wait for it to be back.
Yeah, I saw something today, the Premier League schedule. They're basically televising a game every 2 hours in like 6 time slots on the weekends.
Really?
There's like everyone's playing at once. And then like
just playing.
Tuesday's got, I mean, they're trying to make up games.
Hey, that's cool. Yeah.
At least they're trying to play. At least they're not arguing about their money. Like,
right.
I get it, but they got to figure something out.
Yeah. That's cool.
That's it as far as the updates on like leagues and
sports,
start dates, etc. I had some other news and notes. Did you have anything else on your end?
Yeah, I did. And actually, I just saw this before we hopped on, and I was excited for it. SpaceX was supposed to send 2 men into space today, and 17 minutes before launch, they canceled.
Yeah. Weather, I guess there's like, it's summer in Florida. That means rain and storms. So, I think they got scratched. Elon Musk said, I saw the quote. He goes, if anything goes wrong, it's my fault. Did you see that quote?
I didn't see that.
I mean, dude, these things blow up. Like, props to him for, I guess, taking the ownership, but I don't know why you put that out there.
But I mean, it's Elon Musk,
guys
right?
to a missile,
I mean, he could probably get another thing set up for before the end of this year. He's done all the other stuff. So, but I saw that kind of, and then actually going back into the sports, I've noticed that over this past week, there's been so much stuff coming out after the MJ doc of players complaining about it. And like, did you see like there was that leaked tape of Michael in the interview saying, if Isaiah is on the dream team, I'm not playing. Yeah.
I've seen a lot of people picking apart what was portrayed in that.
Me too. Which
but you're talking about the soundbite. You're talking about the soundbite of MJ specifically.
Well, there is one,
apparently.
There is. There's a soundbite of MJ, in a private interview saying, if Isaiah is on the team, then I won't play. And apparently, like Magic said, he won't play, or he doesn't want Isaiah on the team either. I don't like when that stuff comes out because it was probably said in private. You know what I mean? But it's out now, so it's something to talk about. And I mean, it's just like, I don't really care if he was petty and he didn't want to play with Isaiah. They put together an unbelievable team, and look, it just shows again how competitive he was, and he didn't like his competition.
I think the one in the soundbite was, I think they said Charles, like referring to Barkley, voiced some concerns about this player. I think I know which one you're talking about. It's not going to be something to worry about. Something along those lines, or in that in that context. But yeah, also interesting seeing Charles Barkley taking a strong stance on someone because he seems to be people pleaser. I guess not so much with like how hot of takes he has, but
not recently.
He seems like he wants to be liked, right?
Oh yeah, I think he does. I love Charles Barkley. I love hearing like an NBA broadcast like that. So I thought that was interesting, and then just like you said, the scrutinization of the documentary, and like people coming out and saying this wasn't true, this was true, whatever. It's kind of like, look, this took a long time to put together. But I can't stand when people come out and say, well, that wasn't true. There has to be some truth of it. Just because it came out. And like I heard Scotty was upset about how he was portrayed. Then you know what? Don't sit on the bench and let Kukoc take that last shot and make it and look terrible, at the end of that game, and pout about them not giving you the ball.
Right.
So I don't know. I just guess those are my takes on that.
Yeah, I like that. And another thing, Barkley, so I guess like the only sporting event of the weekend that I watched was the match. Did you catch that?
Oh, the golf match. Yeah, I loved
the match. So had Tiger, Phil, Tom, and Peyton Manning. Charles Barkley was actually announcing for it, which was funny. Apparently, Charles doesn't have. If you've seen video where like he takes his golf swing and he has like the jerking.
Oh, it's brutal. It's brutal.
Apparently, that's not. He's like through that. Like he got rid of that yip. So good for Charles. But yeah, that was just kind of cool to see. I didn't watch, like I'm not gonna sit here and act like I watched every moment of it because I didn't. But I caught a couple holes, and at the beginning it was kind of everyone's kind of quiet. I think there was some part where they're trying to talk to Tiger and Tiger's mic's not on. There's some issues, right? And it was like pouring rain. It wasn't like a nice day to play golf, but I think they were all like, "Hey, we're here, we're doing it. Let's get this over with." They must have. Like, why else would you want to golf in that weather? But yeah, I think they made some good money. You got $20 million for charity. It was really cool seeing like one of my favorite things that I watched was Phil coaching Tom Brady on like situational stuff. And Tom didn't seem to like ask for it, It looked like Phil was just like, hey, like I saw this. I'm like gonna address this with you. But like Tom was listening. Like that's why he's an all-time great. Like he takes coaching.
Yeah, I like it. I mean,
it's funny to see a guy, at that pinnacle, like the greatest quarterback ever getting coached.
But I mean, they're in Phil's world right there. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And Tom did exactly like. It was kind of good to see Tom Brady get up there and shank some shots because it's like, oh, okay. I mean, look, he is human, right?
And he had like the most impressive shot the whole day.
I know, and then he sinks that eagle on that par 5 or that birdie or whatever it was. That was unbelievable. And then the one thing going back to Charles, you see like Charles was giving Tom shit about stuff, and then Tom was like, "Look, this is a tournament for champions or something like that."
He said. Did he say the champions thing? I didn't see that.
Yeah. He said, Charles, I thought this was a tournament for champions. So,
I saw him say
that's pretty good.
Chuck, he's like, this ain't over. And then right before he went out and hit that sick, like 150 yards or something, he was saying, it ain't over. Just wait. Just wait.
Yeah. But Tiger and Mandy ended up winning, right? Tiger and Mandy won it.
Yes, I believe so.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
I'm not
like you said.
Answer it with confidence.
I'm pretty much. I'm positive. Did 20 million for charity. It's pretty cool.
Right, and then I think they all made at least I think they made like $6 million a piece or something.
Oh, I'm sure they got paid. A pretty penny, man.
They weren't doing it out of the kindness of their own heart. They got
no, they got paid. They got paid, which they should. Look, they're doing it to entertain everybody. So many people watch them. Let them get paid. So
Phil was like, I think this is like could be a thing. He said he wants to see Michael Jordan and Steph Curry. Like
that would be
Michael
interesting. I would love that.
We know Steph's a good golfer.
That's a good golfer.
And it doesn't have to be Tiger and Phil each time. He said like,
hey, what about like
get some Romo in there? Justin Rose, get some. It's such a cool premise because like in sports contracts, it'll be like, don't ride an ATV, don't get on a motorcycle. None of them said don't play golf. Like everyone can play.
None of them say don't play golf. That is
Tom
a good
Brady
point.
Said at halftime of our games, we get checked for concussions. Here they get refreshments. Like after 9, you get refreshments, Rodney. Like
you get a refreshment. You're feeling good. You wipe yourself down with a little towel. You go back out. You're ready to roll.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But I don't know. Cool possibility. Like that could be a positive that comes out of this whole thing. Just
I'd love it.
And who's losing on that? TV's making money. You could throw them when like the weekend of the ESPYs or whenever it usually is. I think it's sometime in June. There's like really nothing happening. Just make these little events a part of American like sports culture. Everyone wins. People get paid. You can raise money, and the athletes have fun. Which is not.
I agree. And raise money is the biggest part. I mean, the cool thing was I see like all the athletes chime in like through Twitter. Like, who was it? Brooks Koepka was like, if Tom Brady gets a birdie in the front 9, I'll donate another $100K.
Did you say that? That's cool. That's cool.
Yeah. So I mean that's cool, So that was a cool. That was a really cool.
Gambling on these guys over social media.
Yes.
That's awesome.
Yeah, it's awesome. That's awesome. Well, cool, man. I mean, I don't really have any other news and notes. What about kudos of the week?
So my kudos this week goes to her name is Jenny Stejna or Stejna. Hard to pronounce the last name. Stejna. She's 103 years old. She's from Massachusetts, and she came down with the coronavirus.
Okay.
She came out the other end, though. She's coronavirus free, and to celebrate, in her hospital bed, she chugged a Bud Light. So Bud Light is now going to sponsor some beers for old Grandma Jenny, or probably great Grandma Jenny.
How about that?
She's 103. Like, that's a pat on the back. Coronavirus survivor and chugging beer in her hospital bed. That's a kudos of the week right there.
Look, you know what? That is a really good one. Bunch of kudos to her. So, congrats to her. And then my kudos actually is 2 people, Chad Johnson and Andre Drummond. I don't know if you saw this. They both gave $1,000 tips at to restaurants, to the restaurant workers when they were able to get back in and dine, which is a really cool gesture. Kind of staying on the same theme of giving back money. It was a big weekend of that with the match and everything. So. Kudos to Chad Johnson and Andre Drummond, especially because I'm not sure what Chad Johnson is doing right now. I'm sure he probably still has a ton of money. Andre Drummond's obviously still dominating the NBA. So, Yeah. So I mean, hey, good
He's
for both
still
of
a
them.
sponsor by Adidas, and I
Is
think
he? Okay.
he's got revenue streams, and he's never
Yeah.
been one. He doesn't drink. He doesn't do anything like bad, really. Like doesn't party. Like
You're right. You never really hear anything about him going out and partying and doing that type of stuff.
he lived next door to
Yeah.
Rod. We don't talk politics on the show, but Roger Stone, like the Trump campaign guy, he lived next door to him. When he got arrested by the FBI, he's like, like my next door neighbor Roger got arrested.
Man. Well, yeah.
It seems like he's doing all right. He's got to be in a nice neighborhood.
I'm sure he is. Kudos to Chad Johnson and Andre Drummond for doing that for the restaurant workers, because I know a lot of them have been hurt during this time. So I thought that was pretty cool.
I like that.
Yeah.
All right. So
well, cool.
With the we're not going to talk about the MJ doc anymore. It's moved on to Lance, but we're not talking just about Lance. We were talking like, all right, so all these different athletes are getting these, these specials on them in their career. And really, to be in like that position, you have to be one of the most dominant athletes of your generation.
Of all time.
So we started thinking, who are the most dominant athletes since 2000? So keeping it somewhat relevant.
This was super hard.
It was super hard. Neither of us really – we didn't have as much time to prepare as we'd hoped. So, but regardless, I'm really excited about my list.
I'm too.
Top 10, right?
Yeah, top 10. We'll go 10 down to 1. Obviously, we're going to leave out a ton of people because we're doing most dominant athletes. So that opens up the door, so much. But it was fun, doing some research on this. And I do think when you look at it, like, I think a lot of people's 1 through 4 or 1 through 5 would be pretty similar. But I saw a couple off the cuff stuff. And I'm sure there's going to be surprises in both ones. And at the end of it, we should definitely do some, for sure, honorable mentions that are probably not even really honorable mentions. They could easily be in these top 10.
Sure. Yeah, why not? I only had 10, cool. But I can probably think of another 1 or 2.
No, for sure.
Did you do multiple sports? I kept it to if I gave someone 1 for one sport, I 1 per sport was my approach.
You gave it 1 per sport.
Yeah, so many different definitions of athlete. Like, how can I?
No, I'm with you. I mean, mine are, I will say this: mine are pretty close to 1 per sport.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
There were some other ones we could talk about. It's one of my honorable mentions. One was like, I don't know if I can put him over this person. Yeah, and so like some of these, I did different interpretations of what we really meant by like most dominant. Some are just that one year was just that dominant. It was the most dominant year I've seen. Others are like, hey, they're the most dominant over that court. I don't know. We'll talk about it. Let's start with number 10. Who do you got, Jeff?
Okay, so my number 10, and I guess it looks like now that I see it, I do have more basketball players than anyone, but I'm going to keep it where it is. I'm not going to change it. Yeah, my number 10 actually. My number 10, going back to 2000, I put Tim Duncan.
Love Tim Duncan. I love Tim Duncan. He's the best power forward, in my opinion, of all time.
Hey, best power forward of all time. Bunch of titles. Just dominated. I mean, several MVPs, ton of all-star games. I looked at a bunch of different lists. And going into this, I didn't really think about putting him in it. But then it's like, how do you not? So my number 10 was Tim Duncan.
If we're talking about dominant, was Tim Duncan dominant? Yes.
Yes.
Was he arguably probably the best power forward ever? Yes.
Yes.
I can't debate that. So
I
like that pick.
Cool.
For my number 10, I had Barry Bonds.
Yeah.
Whether or not you like him or you think he's a good person, I don't really care in this argument. We're talking about
he deserves
dominant.
To be on the list.
He had 73 home runs in one season. His on-base percentage was almost 500, meaning half the times he gets up to the plate, he's on base. He had more, I think, intentional walks than he had strikeouts. Like, it was, if you want the most dominant single year in baseball history from a hitter, Barry Bonds. And it's really not close.
He's arguably the best baseball player ever.
Yeah, I mean,
you can make that argument.
Like, we argue about, like, all right, basketball, like, then you have, like, these, like, pre-1980 guys versus, like, post-1980, and it's kind of different, like, a different sport, free-point line, all these things change it. Baseball's that times, 100. It's the game's been around so long. It's really hard to say. But, I mean, for that 1 year, and We
Hey,
took
I
a
like it.
lot of different things
Yeah.
to say about him. He probably would have been a Hall of Famer without the juice, but he took the juice and he had the most dominant year I've ever seen. Very bummed.
I mean, hey, look. Next Sunday, we're 2 Sundays from now, we're about to see another documentary about two guys who were juiced to the gills with Mark McGuire and Sammy Sosa. Even if they say that they weren't, so maybe they weren't. I shouldn't
They're
accuse, right?
No.
I know. Look, I know, but it was.
Here.
I know. Look, it was that was when baseball was the most fun to watch, and they still got to hit the baseball. So I'm not mad. I'm not mad about it. Let them do whatever they want. It was the best time to watch baseball. I love watching them hit dingers out. So
here's something most people don't know: more home runs last year in the season than any season ever before.
I did see that.
Even with the juice, the league just winds the baseball. Let's do a baseball episode another time, but.
Well, I think didn't we say we're going to do that for our next one? So we'll talk more
Thursday
about that.
Or Friday?
Friday.
What day?
Yeah.
Let's do one Friday. Heck yeah. Oh, we'll get a special guest.
Yeah. So cool. Well, all right. So let's go to number 9 for you. I did 10 first. You go to number
9. For my number 9, I have LeBron James. He makes that's my basketball guy. So he makes the finals. He made 7 years in a row. Has 3 or 9 years in a row. Was it he goes every year? He was on Cleveland, and he's taking these awful Cleveland teams. Then he goes to Miami, and then he goes back to Cleveland. And before this year ended, it was looking like he was probably the best player on the best team in the league. Second greatest ever behind Michael. I think I'd said the other episode, LeBron James, 9th most dominant.
Hey, my reaction is that he's all the way back at number 9 for you. He's definitely on my list.
I've got some seriously dominant athletes in the other ones. You'll see.
I mean, when you look through it, I say for sure, any of these could probably be, argued to be top 5. But yeah, all right, I like LeBron there. Yeah,
very sound reasoning behind the other 8.
I believe it. I believe it. So my number 9 is Katie Ledecky. So
I like it.
Yes. When it comes to swimming, and obviously there's going to be another swimmer on my list also. But I remember watching her in the Olympics. I swear there was a race when she could have gotten out of the pool, gone and eaten a sandwich, and the second place person wouldn't even have been in the camera view yet.
She was 15. Remember?
Yeah,
she was she couldn't drive a car.
15, exactly. Yeah. I mean, she's so dominant in swimming. If there's anyone that's going to break Michael Phelps records when it comes to swimming, it's going to be Katie Ledecky. So she had to make the top 10 for me. You could probably even put her higher, but she's at number 9 for me. But when it comes to the end of her career, guess what? She probably will be. So.
And I didn't have her on here on my list. When you're talking about across all sports, it's really hard.
Yeah, it is.
But yeah, not taking anything away from her.
100%.
For my 8th best athlete in the past 20 years, I had American Pharoah, the Triple Crown winner.
You put a horse in?
Yeah. American Pharoah won the first Triple Crown since 1972. There was another winner in 2018. But when you're the first in your lane, no pun intended for those horse racing fans out there, if you're the first to do it in 40 years, how are you going to tell me you're not one of the most dominant of the past 20?
I'm not going to tell you he's not one of the most dominant of the past 20. He is. I mean,
we never said these athletes had to be human.
You're not kidding. Yeah, you're right. We never said that. And I like the pick. And he is. I've seen some lists where he is on there. I guess I just didn't think about it. But no, you're absolutely right. I actually really like that pick. So nice work. Yeah. Nice. So my number, what are we on? Number 8, right?
I had 8. Yeah. So now it's your 8.
Yeah. So for my number 8, I actually am going to do some moving around because now that I'm thinking about it. But I'm going to put Kobe Bryant there.
Kobe,
who was so dominant in the 2000s. He was the next thing when it comes to Michael Jordan, the closest to any player I think to Michael Jordan. And obviously, if this was a list going back to Michael Jordan days, he'd be on that list. Dominant. A lot of times he gets scrutinized for the championships that he had because Shaq was on his team. Yep. But he won without Shaq also. And with
2000. What year was it? 2000. Was it 9 or 13? One of those years, he was older and he basically carried them.
Yes.
I think it was
Yeah.
2013. Does that sound right? I think it was 2013.
Yeah, around. So he carried the Lakers for a long time. I mean, his another reason why I think he has to be on this list. The guy played in the NBA for 20 years or 19 years, was an All-Star for I think 18 or 19 of them. He scored 81 points in the game. I just for me, when it comes to dominance, he's my number 8.
I like that.
Yeah.
You want to give us your number 7 too?
Yeah, I will go to number 7. My number 7, I'm going to go to Roger Federer.
I have Roger coming up.
Yeah, moving to the tennis world. One of the most dominant athletes for sure. His tennis accomplishments. I saw a stat where he won like 16 of his first 25 matches or something like that. When it are tournaments or something. I mean, that's absurd. So he's got to be on the list.
Yeah, I have him. I don't want to give all my stats around him, but
For sure. I'll wait.
Maybe the greatest ever.
Maybe.
But
so he's got
7 for me. Sorry, go ahead.
I was gonna say here's one of the things that's like he's got 2 guys behind him that could catch him in Nadal and Djokovic. I mean, towards the end of their careers, they could very well be on the list also. You know what I mean? It would have been fine to put them on this list right now, probably. But Federer still is ahead.
Yeah, and like he's 38 and he's still 4th in the world. And
He's
it's
still
tennis. Like think about a shortstop. Like that's really what you're making these aggressive lateral movements.
Yeah.
It's not like LeBron where you can just change his game. You're still playing tennis. You can't play lazy tennis.
Right.
He's doing something. I don't know how he's making it 38, but they're all getting old and they're all still good. For my number 7, I had Simone Biles.
Yeah.
She's 23 years old. She's the youngest one on the list. She's 30 Olympic medals. She's the 3rd most decorated gymnast ever.
So keep telling your stats, but I will go ahead and go to my number 6 because it's Simone Biles.
I'll let you go. That's the place I don't know that well.
But I want you to keep talking about Simone Biles. She's unbelievable. Like you said, the youngest on the list. When I saw her down there, I was like, I mean, she is just absolutely dominant. So I love that pick.
I'm going to actually switch on the spot. I'm going to do some serious surgery on this list right here. Because I had Federer higher, but when I'm actually looking at some of my reasoning, I'm like, there's a hole in that. So for my 6, I'm going to go ahead and say Roger Federer. Not because we've already talked about him, but there's just something that I was looking at that didn't quite stack up. So number 6 for me, Roger Federer.
I like it. So your 7 was Biles, 6 is Federer. My 7 was Federer, 6 is Biles.
6 Biles, okay. Agree there. Kind of. So for my number 5, I have Tom Brady.
I do too.
6 Super Bowl championships. He's the greatest quarterback ever. The fact that the greatest quarterback ever is only 5th on my list of most dominant athletes in the past 20 years only heightens the speculation, I'm sure, for those listeners and viewers on what's coming next. But 5th, Tom Brady.
Well, it's funny because so you don't have someone who I have in the top 4 coming up. But I bet you 3 of the top 4 of ours are going to be the same. But so number 5 for me was Tom Brady also. And you're talking about a guy who at one point in time in his 18th season in the NFL, half of the time he's gone to the Super Bowl. That's an unbelievable statistic.
He has a higher chance at making the Super Bowl than most people have at completing a pass.
Yeah, right? Definitely that. But he has a higher chance of making the Super Bowl than it was at the time when Russell Westbrook made MVP in the NBA. He had a better chance of going to the Super Bowl than Russell Westbrook had of making a basket in the NBA. And that's talking about the NBA MVP. So that's wild. I mean, his career is filled with stats. I can't wait to see him this year. So 5 for both of us. Tom Brady. I like it. Can we go to 4?
Yeah, give us your 4.
My 4 is Tiger Woods.
Man.
He probably could. He could be higher.
No, I don't have him on my list.
Oh wow. Okay, so my 4 is Tiger Woods. The only reason he's not higher is because of the little hiatus, obviously, that he took. If he would have probably never taken that, it would be hard not to put him at number 1. You're talking about a guy who made the sport of golf the most exciting thing to watch on TV, right? I mean, when it came to him playing on Sundays, you had to watch Tiger walk down to the 18th green. He won on average 5.3 matches yearly for like a 7 or 8 year span or something. So that's just absurd dominance in such a hard sport filled with players. Tiger Woods, number 4.
So I think I don't really have an excuse for not having him on my list. That's pretty stupid on my part, but
trust me, there are people that both of us are missing that we don't have an excuse for not having on this
list. Freaking Tiger Woods. It's pretty big. I remember I literally did this while I was like walking home. So I definitely didn't take enough time. But I think when I initially thought like, oh, Tiger Woods, because he came to my mind, I initially thought, well, weren't some of his majors like before 2000? Do I want to include him on the most dominant? Because everything kind of stopped in 2007. That's not really fair for me to judge him that way, though, when I'm saying Barry Bonds just based off 1 year.
But also you have to look at – when you look at his 7 years from 2002 2007, were so dominant.
They were the most dominant golf history. He should be on that list, but he's not.
And he came back and won the Masters 2 years ago. Or was that 2 years ago? So, I mean, he's got to be honest for me. But, hey, that's all right. I'll give you a pass. Who's your number 4?
Usain Bolt.
Okay.
The fastest man ever.
Yep.
He ran a 9.58 in the 100.
I thought it was a 9.57 even, wasn't it?
9.58.
Was it 5.8? Man.
He's the greatest sprinter of all time.
And he's
the best part about the 9.58. The 9.58 was the one where he starts letting up at the end.
He stopped.
Do you remember that? He didn't even run as fast as time, which is so infuriating. Doing this little, know that thing. I love Usain Bolt, man. How can you not put the fastest man to ever grace the planet as not one of the most dominant athletes of the past 20 years?
Not to mention also is he did it in 3 straight Olympics and 3 straight events. So he won the gold, so that's just absurd. I love it. We'll talk more about him because I have him a little bit lower on the list, or a little bit higher, I should say. So who's your number 3?
Serena Williams. So this was the surgery I did on the list. I was like, where do we want to put Serena versus Roger? Because I initially had Roger 3rd. But then I was like, well, you only had 20 majors. Serena has 23.
Yeah, she's the best tennis player.
How can I, in good faith, tell you she's not better? Because, my brain initially went to, it's because, Roger's playing against guys. Serena can't help. She's a woman, though.
No,
she only
she's the best ever.
Plays. I don't
think
that's fair for me. So I put Serena up. She's number 3. Best athlete of the past 20 years.
Hey, let me tell you something right now. There's a lot of professional tennis players, I don't care if man or woman, that Serena Williams plays, that I'm going to have a problem betting against Serena Williams. I don't care who they are, right? I mean, she's just so dominant, best tennis player of all time. She's also my number 3. So I agree with you that for sure.
I like it.
Yeah.
You number 2?
My number 2 is.
I know we have the same number 1.
No, we don't. I know we don't.
Give me your number 2 then.
Yeah. My number 2 is LeBron James.
We have the same number. You have to have the same number 1.
No, we don't. I'm 100% positive we don't. My number 2 is LeBron James, who and the reason why we don't have the number 1 is because I did what you're about to do with your number 1. I did that.
I haven't given you my number 2 yet.
I know. There's someone who I left off this list that's unforgivable and should be number 1.
Okay.
So,
all right. Good.
So I realized it earlier.
Feel a hell of a lot better about Tiger Woods.
Well, here's the problem. Is I realized it, but I'm like, okay, but who do I move from 1 through 5? I can't do it, so I was like, screw it. I'm just gonna keep him. Okay. So
I should have taken Barry Bonds off my list and put Tiger Woods there. That was not. American Pharaoh's definitely sticking.
I probably should have done someone else other than Tim Duncan, but Tim Duncan I think is the pick. Okay, so going back to it, LeBron James number 2 for me. We talked about him earlier. Pure dominance, over the past 20 years of basketball. How many finals appearances? The 1 finals, I know they lost, but I think he had no supporting cast for the Cavs. They lost to the Warriors, but he led in all 5 major categories he should have won Finals MVP. So makes everyone so much better around him. One of the best passers, if not the best passer of all time, I think. And that doesn't even speak to he might even be able to break the scoring record. So LeBron James for me, number 2.
I love that. For my number 2, the pride of Fulton County, Kentucky, a 12-time champion since the year 2000, the best eater the world's ever seen, Joey Chestnut.
Oh,
Joey Chestnut.
Come on.
What do you mean, come on? The guy ate 71 hot dogs in 2019 to set a world record.
I love that you put Joey Chestnut on there. Don't get me wrong.
Is that not a sport?
Professional eating?
Is it an athletic achievement?
I don't think so, but
okay,
I have no problem with you putting him in there.
Then you don't disagree with me. You disagree with my definition of what an athlete is. If you agree with my definition of what an athlete is, and I shame on you for
then he's dominant.
Counting the competitive eaters as athletes. Who else has won 12 championships in the past 20? Who?
I don't know, but I mean, there's
no one. No one. Joey Chestnut, second best, most dominant athlete of the past 20 years.
No, you know what? That's not true. Wait, you have people on here that have won way more gold medals than 12.
Yeah, that's not fair though. They have like 8 events every 4 years. He only gets 1 a year, and he's Mr. Consistent.
That's
Joey
fair.
Chestnut, chomp.
Fair. I get that. You know, well, then I would argue Usain Bolt. He has 9 gold medals in just 3 appearances. You know, and he only gets to do that every 4 years. So, but look, I have no problem with it. I like Joey Chestnut. I'm a fan of Joey Chestnut. I've done my fair share of eating challenges, and I cannot even touch what obviously he's done on eating challenges. So that's fine. That's fair. I would say then we could give you a pass and take him out and put Tiger in there for your number 2, but keep Joey there.
No, I would never take Joey off my list.
As a number 2 overall on this list, that's bold, but I love it. I love the hot take. That's great. That's great. So my number 1 is Usain Bolt.
I love it.
Yeah, I think he's much dominant.
How did you leave Michael Phelps off this list?
I know. Trust me.
He's the greatest.
He should have been.
I'm only rushing you because we have 3 minutes, right?
Yes, but he should have been number 1 on my list. I just didn't think about it.
He's the greatest Olympian of all time. He has 13 gold medals. He has 23 medals. He's the
greatest.
Agreeing with you. He's widely regarded as the greatest of all time. This isn't
I'm agreeing with you.
1950 when they created the NFL. They've been, naked or run around in circles in Greece for thousands of years competing in the Olympics, and he's the best to ever come along.
I couldn't agree with you more. He should be probably number 1 on my list, if not number 2. I think when I put in Katie Ledecky, I did kind of go away from thinking, okay, I got swimming covered for some reason, and I didn't even think about Michael Phelps for the rest of the list.
When you put Katie Ledecky, I was like, oh damn, Jeff is really into swimming this list. All right, like. Well, fifth of his list is all swimmers. Like,
I do like watching swimming in the Olympics. I think it's incredible. He completely a bad bit on my part by leaving him out for sure. So I like that. But,
all right, kind of hilarious. I leave off Tiger Woods. You leave off Michael Phelps.
That's ridiculous. The Jungle Pod for sports analysis come to us. But I was going into it. So when we mentioned a couple going through this list, I think some other people that could be on the list. Shaq could be on the list 100%. John Jones, Demetrius Johnson, Julius Peppers.
You want athlete? Julius Peppers.
Hey, Floyd Mayweather could have made the list.
Ooh.
And he probably would be really high. That's really hard to leave him up. Drew Brees could be on this list. I mean, his dominance, and he set all the records, won a Super Bowl. He could for sure be on this list. Messi, Ronaldo, they probably should be on it.
Yeah, I know. I was looking at both of them, like, how do I choose?
Yeah. And then also, another one that I saw on several lists, Lindsey Vonn for skiing. One of the arguably the greatest skier, probably the greatest American skier ever. So she could be on that too.
Yeah, if you wanted to be a nerd, you could just go find each event and just find whoever nominated.
And do Olympics.
I was trying to get one. Like, I didn't look at lists for this. I just came up with them. Maybe I should have with Tiger Woods.
Well, I've left off Michael Phelps, so I think I'll give you a pass.
This is locked in. It's going on the record books. That's episode 12. Anything else, Jeff?
No, brother, that was a good one. A lot of fun. We maybe we'll dive into this list a little bit more and do it by sport here coming up or something like that, because I think I got to redeem myself with leaving off Michael Phelps. And
you can't please everyone. Michael Phelps, I don't know who that is. Tiger Woods, never heard of him.
Never heard of him. Heard of him. What'd he do? I don't even know what sport he played. So, well, good deal.
All right, cool. We'll see you guys Friday. Thanks for listening.
Till next time. Yeah, man.
See you guys.